Hi, everybody. Welcome to Peering at the Outlands. This is our second episode and our first episode of Peering at the Laurels. So for everybody that's here live, I'm so excited that you're here with us. And for everybody that's going to be watching later, thanks for taking the time to peek in, to see what we're doing, and to watch our chat with our guests. I'd like to start out this first episode by thanking just everyone that's being able to participate, coming, watching, all of our guests that we're going to have throughout the season, not only on Peering at the Laurel, but also at Peering at the Chivalry and Peering at the Defense and Peering at the Pelicans as well. I want to really thank their Royal Majesties, Bela and Narissa, not only for putting together this awesome opportunity for us to connect in a time when connection's been really hard, but for their continued service and their dedication to the Kingdom of the Outlands. Thank you, Your Majesties. And I also want to thank all of the tech crew. This has been just an amazing undertaking, and I want to give a very, very special thank you today to His Lordship Edric. He's our tech guy. He's going to be making sure that everything is running smoothly and fixing all of my mistakes and everything else. So with that, I think we should jump right in, and I'm so excited to introduce my first guest, which is Mistress Jeanne-Marie. Jeanne-Marie, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. It's a delight to be here and see you.
It's so exciting, and I know there's so many of these shows happening just all across the known world. We found this way to connect virtually, and but it's so nice to see a familiar face and a friendly face, and to just hear the voices that you miss so much.
If only we could reach out and touch you.
I know.
I'm hugging you from here. That's what I'm doing.
It's like you're in my bedroom without being in my bedroom. Which is
absolutely that way.
So this is our opportunity. Because I feel like I know you so well and I admire you so much. It was our opportunity to look across our kingdom and think about the other laurels that we might want other people just to really just to know the pure joy that you are, and just to kind of see today, if we can talk about it, your progression as an artisan within the SCA. So I'm hoping that's what we can do today. We're gonna do some other fun stuff too. So we're gonna talk a little bit. We'll have some questions, but then we're gonna have show and tell later. And then at some point we'll play a game or we'll do an activity. I'll give away a prize. Maybe I'll give away 5 prizes. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But let's start off sharing a little bit about you so everybody else can get to know you the way that some of us are fortunate enough to know you. So if you would just tell us who you are, tell us what you do, and tell us when you became a Laurel, and just tell us all about that.
All about that. So I think we have to go back to the beginning, which was actually in 1988. My first husband.
I was 1 year old.
Oh my God! Shut the front door. My first husband and I were wandering around in Fort Collins and came across this group of people dressed up on the university lawn. And they told us what they were, and they took us to an event, and it was fabulous. But we moved that fall to California. No one told us that it was a worldwide thing. So we thought it was just a Colorado thing and put it out of our heads and went on and did our lives. And when I moved back in 96, my kids were getting older, and I'm like, well, maybe we should do something. And someone says, well, do you like camping? I'm like, I love camping. They're like, oh, there's this thing called the SCA. And I went, oh my God, that's right. We're in Colorado. There's the SCA. And we came and we jumped in with both feet and had a great time. And I had a whole bunch of really naive ideas about the SCA, but they were good. For instance, being a Laurel, I really thought that the Crown went through a list in their own head of people they wanted who would, if I needed someone to fight for me or do these martial things, that would be my knight. And this would be my Laurel, who would do these things when I asked him to make things. And then us as the peers made all at the same time would be like really close knit and friendly and, do things together to encourage and grow. Okay, that's not really the way it works, but I love the idea so much that when Anna and Bela at the time in 2010 made me a Laurel, I got to know all the other people who appeared at the same time, who were elevated. And one of my best friendships came out of it because Bobby was made a knight. Count Robert was made a knight, and he's one of my dearest friends. And so I thought we all were supposed to do that. It was like our peer group, we were all supposed to be together. But that was a rambling on about that. Who I am. Well, I like I said, we kind of came fully formed because that little toe I dipped in in 1988 got me so excited. I learned how to weave, and I learned to weave. I finished weaving a blanket for my son like 2 days before he was born, and he turns 28 this year. So I've been weaving for 28 years. And when I came to the SCA, it was a craft that was not only appreciated, but valued and encouraged, and
very much so.
People were excited, and I was excited, made me more excited. So I shared with everything I had with everyone, and that not quite everything I had. I'm gonna take a drink right now.
You're in your bedroom too. I mean, what you do is your business, Jeanne-Marie.
Absolutely. Are you wearing pants?
I put pants on. I did.
I'm so proud of you.
I didn't put shoes on. I put pants on. It didn't feel. It didn't feel right because none of my dresses have fronts in them. So it felt like perhaps I should put on pants today.
Well, and I had wondered with some of the things that you had planned if standing up might be part of it too, but I'm wearing,
I don't know. Maybe we'll stand up. Maybe we'll lay down. I don't know. Maybe it's like thumbs up, 7 up. I don't know what it is yet.
It'll be great.
We're gonna find out. So you talked about living in another kingdom, but not when you were really in the SCA. So it was like you came. Well, you were here. You dipped your toe in, and then you move. Probably what feels like across country. I don't know. Every time I go to California, I'm like, this is a different world. What do you do over here? Like you have beaches and sunshine and like convertibles. Like what is this? But so then you come back to Colorado, right, where it's all like snow and mountains and all the other things that are great.
And sunshine and
snow and mountains. And sunshine and tornadoes, apparently. That was a shocker when I found that one out. You guys know. So, but you come back, you jump back into the SCA.
Right.
And then in 2010, you're elevated, to the Laurel. Have you, I know you've like kind of traveled extensively like through the other kingdoms, but have you ever had, since you were elevated, have you had any time where you lived outside of the kingdom to experience being a Laurel in another kingdom?
I haven't, but I ask questions all the time when I talk to my friends from other kingdoms.
It's different, right? Like I get the impression, especially we have some new people and within Alberon that have just moved here. We have Sir Ferris and we have the other Mistress Sabiha, Pelican Sabiha, that's what I've been calling her, which is weird. I'm like, Pelican Sabiha. It's like when I refer to Sabiha, they know who I'm talking about. They know but they Countess Mariana as well. And so we've had kind of like this this influx of peers from Aidenveld, which I'm just like so excited about. But it is different. Being a Laurel in another kingdom, the way they do things is different than the way we do it here. And I think kind of their perception of maybe what it means to be a Laurel might be a little bit different, So
yeah, I really think it is. I know that some kingdoms actually make a progression of an artist in a written form with pictures and documentation of what they've done and where they've been and what they've shown. And so for us, we are seen frequently as the cowboys of the known world, because we are kind of these. Well, we don't write anything down and we don't talk. We don't. We do talk, but not quite in the way that they do.
We're doing what we're doing, and we're doing it the way we want to do it, and it's working out just fine as far as I'm concerned.
It's We're the Outlands. That's the way we do it.
Yeah.
We are cowboys. Absolutely.
It's the wild, wild west.
We do have flush toilets, so for anyone out there who thought we didn't, we do.
That's true. And electricity and, like running water and things like that. But when we have events, don't expect any of those things.
At all.
Right? And we have a lot of dirt. And that's what you should expect in the Outlands. But our dirt is the best, it's the most magical dirt in the whole known world, is the dirt in the Outlands. It's been proven. We have a whole box full of it. Like, not a joke.
Not a joke.
So like, we're talking about like what it's like to be a Laurel in other kingdoms. And I mean, you don't really know. I don't really know either. I don't ever want to move away from the Outlands, so I'm like, I don't want to find out. Maybe one day when I'm old, I'll retire to like start coughing, right?
There you go.
Like that seems like the SCA place to retire to. But so we don't have that. But I think what we can talk about is how our perceptions of the SCA changed when we became Laurels.
Oh, certainly.
Like, because I mean, it happened to me. It happened to you too, right? Like, it's a thing that happens with. I don't want to say all peers. I'm not going to make that broad statement, but I think that there's a lot of us that experience kind of like this turning point in what we know about the SCA and what we can give. Right? We've been giving, but there's a turning point in how we give and what we give.
It's definitely. And I say this because I believe it firmly. That's a responsibility to me as a Laurel now to make sure that I am helping those around me in ways that I may not have before. Before I was like teaching classes and doing all and sharing my love of my art. But I wasn't necessarily. I wasn't like tearing anybody else down, but I wasn't necessarily going on my way to say to an artist I didn't know, what you make is amazing. You should do more of it, and talk to this person, right? So there's that part of it that really made a huge impact on me, and I still feel that to this day, to make sure that I can get people to look at others around and show off what they're doing, because we have some absolutely amazing artisans in the Outlands, and showing them. I mean. It's our heart. It's a little bit of ourselves we put into everything we do, right? So it's like, here's my baby, and sorta, but not really, but yeah, sorta.
Well, it was such an interesting experience, picking out and asking people to come on the show and let me interview them, peer to peer, because we do. I think once you become a Laurel, we spend so much of our time and our energy trying to boost the renown of others.
Absolutely.
Right? We're trying to create this word fame for these other artisans, and then when you're asked to look back and say, no, pick from your group of Laurels, it feels wrong. There's pushback. It's like, well, we all know how wonderful Jeanne-Marie is. We know that she's a wonderful artisan. We know that she's a master at what she does. So it was very difficult because it pushes against what you as a Laurel, what you want to do. I don't need to showcase another Laurel. Right. I want to showcase the people that are out there that are doing all of these amazing things, and they're enhancing our common wheel, right?
Right.
So we have a little question. Do I want to take questions? I want to take questions.
Okay.
So we have, and I have a funny story about this, but I'm going to let Jeanne-Marie tell her story first. Laurels in other kingdoms are made in specific skills. Jeanne-Marie, are you a Laurel in a specific skill, in a particular skill?
I would think strongly that weaving is definitely what really got me noticed as a Laurel, because it was what I shared with other people. I in the teaching of the classes and getting, we once had I filled a room with 12 looms, and we just all sat around learning all different kinds of weave structures, and so I think that weaving really was it, but it might just be that I'm kind of nice. Might be that too. I'm not really sure. Like you said, we don't give our Laurels exactly, but there's a thing that we focus on. Right.
There's, you have to be focused enough to become what we consider that mastery of a skill, right? To get to meet the criteria to become a Laurel. But there's so much more that goes into it.
Right.
I have a funny story about a 9-foot parasol. So I have, for all of you that don't know me, I have it's this big. It's 9 feet wide parasol. It's this giant umbrella. And I used it for my laurel ceremony. And then it's gotten used for everything since then. And it's comical. It's kind of dumb. Like it's not very practical. It's very heavy. It's very dangerous in the wind. And when you live in the outlands, every event you go to is windy. So, but we take it everywhere we go. And it's like this comfort item for me, I guess. And my husband, Bardolph, Sir Bardolph, is, because he's great, he's like, yeah, like, I'll strap it to the roof, I'll take your stupid umbrella. But then he uses it too. But so we're at Battlemore, and this going to be 3 summers ago, and they had the Sword and Shield tournament at the same time of one of the really big archery tournaments. And I wanted to go shoot archery, but Bardolph wanted to fight in the Sword and Shield. So I said, yeah, go when they have the processional. I'll see where I'm at on the archery line, and I'll come walk in the processional, and it'll be fun. So Bardolph thinks that I'm going to come down and walk in this processional. So what does he do? He goes and gets his 9-foot umbrella.
Oh.
And then he comes over and he's like, hey, and I'm like, no, I'm like right in the middle. Like I have 20 targets and I'm on number 11. I don't want to step away. Like I'm in my groove. I'm not winning, but I'm in my groove. And so he's like, okay, that's fine. He's like, it's not a big deal. Like, their majesties will forgive you. And I'm like, oh, please. So he goes and he gets in line and he's in the processional. And he takes his umbrella with him. He doesn't go put it back in camp or lay it down. So he's standing there, just little Bardolph. I mean, like, well, big Bardolph, like, with his 9-foot umbrella. And there's a lovely couple in front of him. They're from out of kingdom, and she's a Laurel, and her husband's a knight. And she turns around to Bardolph and she says, "Why do you have this umbrella?" And he's like, "Oh, I have this umbrella because of my wife, and I thought my wife was going to come stand, in the processional, and so I have this umbrella for my wife." And she's like, "Oh, that's so kind." But then she's like, "But why do you have a 9-foot umbrella?" Like, and he's like, "Oh, no, it's from my wife's laurel ceremony." And she says, "Oh, what's your wife's laurel in?" And he looks at her like dead-faced, serious as all get out, and says, "Arts and sciences." And she's like, "Isn't that what they give laurels for?" And I'm like, "You are correct. You are 100% correct, Bardolph. Yeah, it's for arts and sciences. That's what we're doing here." So, and some kingdoms like to get really specific, but ours, like, you get it for a mastery at a skill within in arts and science.
What would you say that yours was in?
If I was being joking, I would tell you pitch pot. I would say that everyone loved that, and that enhanced our experience so much. It wasn't even my idea. It was His Lordship Michaelo. I'm going to give him a shout out. His Lordship Michaelo sends me this email, and he's like, "Look at this cool game." I'm like, "That is a cool game." And then I sent Bardolph to Goodwill and said, "Go measure these pots, and I want one in this shape and size." And he's literally, I'm at work, and he's sending me messages, like holding his car keys and a credit card and like his forearm up to these pots to find the appropriate size. But I would say that it's Persian costuming. And if I was going to get if in my heart of all hearts, if I was going to say, what would I want it to be in? I would say that it's very specifically would be persona development, like that cultivation of the whole aspect. It wasn't that I just, put some pretty dresses together. Is that I was able to put all of the pieces together, and that I was able to do that for other people as well. So I think when I think about what am I a laurel in? Well, I'm a laurel at pitch pot. But in my heart, I would hope that it's that just real persona, development. But realistically, it's Persian costuming.
I'm going with persona development too. I mean, you really did, I think, research everything, and the way that we do get focused on our things, right? And go,
Right.
oh, let's go and down this rabbit hole, and oh, here's one down over here, and oh, we thought this all
Right.
this time, but that's a bunch of baloney.
Oh, we have another comment. What's a question?
Oh.
It says, was Pitch Pot like at 50th year? Oh, what was Pitch Pot like at 50th year? Yes, Pitch Pot. I know that there are people watching that know what this is, but there are people watching that don't know what it is. So it's a period game, and it's really like actually like Mongolian based, but all sort of been like all through Southeast Asia and into the Middle East, and it's still played in places like Korea. It's still very popular, and so pitch pot, you take a pot, like think of like a flower pot or like a vase.
Sure.
So ours is you guys don't know how tall that is because you don't know how tall I am. It's like 1.5 2 feet tall,
okay.
And it's got an opening that, again, you guys don't know how big that is because you don't know how big my head is. It's like, I don't know, 8 inches in diameter. And you take an arrow, a period arrow, right, with a point, with fletchings, and you lay an arrow down at your pitch pot, and then you flip it over, and you flip it over again. So generally, it's like 5 6 feet away. And you stand, and you pitch the arrow into a pot. And you can play it on teams, you can do fancy tricks. And it was so much fun that we just took it everywhere. And we did take it to 50th year. And we had a fantastic time. And it was such an amazing experience because we got to meet so many people from so many other places. And we were like, come play our stupid game with us. And it's period. So like, you can't say no.
I love it. That's awesome. I know it's what are we reading over to the side there? We've got little side notes for those of you at home that we're trying to go.
Yeah. Oh, I don't. Well, Edric says there's an interesting comment from Pelican Sabiha, right? The other Sabiha, it's not me, Sabiha. That there's an interesting comment from a YouTube viewer, but I don't know what it is. You have to share it so we can share it, or maybe we won't share it.
We'll leave it a mystery.
We'll leave it a mystery.
Leave it a mystery.
We'll see. We'll see if Edric. Oh wait. Oh, that was the comment.
Oh.
Oh, well, I don't understand. So, Sabiha, if you're out there, you're going to have to clarify. But I know that you're out there, which is the best part about this.
Right.
So, because it's like, if we're somehow like kindred spirits, like maybe like her power and my power together is like amplified if we're like doing the same thing at the same time.
That seems extraordinarily
unlikely.
Dangerous.
Oh.
No. Are you kidding me? I think you guys would be great together, like peanut butter and jelly, and just magnify each other.
Yeah. She's a lot taller than I am, though, so I feel like there might be like some balance issues. I'll have to get a step stool.
But it would balance, right? You would.
Balance?
Yeah.
I told Her Grace Slane one time that I wear red lipstick because it makes me feel taller, and I hold true by that statement. Like it's period, and I think it looks great.
I think it looks amazing.
Okay. All right, Jeanne-Marie. You want to do some show and tell?
All right, we can. Well, it's mostly show, but or tell.
Well, mine is mostly tell too.
Okay.
But, okay, so we're gonna do show and tell, guys, and we're gonna let you guys vote on who has the best item. But I'm not gonna give you criteria for what the best item is. This is just this is just how you feel. You just get to pick an item, and we're gonna let you guys vote. And maybe there's a winner, maybe there's not a winner. Maybe there's 2 losers. We don't know. Okay, Jeanne-Marie, do you want to go first or second, or do you want to rock, paper, scissors to see who goes first?
I think we should rock, paper, scissors.
Okay, now this is very tricky because everybody does it different. So is it rock, paper, scissors?
Oh, yeah.
Or do you do rock, paper, scissors, shoot?
Oh.
Do you go on 3 or do you go on 4?
It's your house. It's your rules.
Well, I'm definitely in my house, but you're not in my house.
I am. I'm in your bedroom.
You're the guest.
So 1 2 3, shoot.
Okay. All right. So it's gonna be rock, paper, scissors, and then we go.
Yep.
Okay. Should we close our eyes?
Well, sure.
Well, you close your eyes when you shoot, and then after you shoot, then you open your eyes in
Okay.
case one of us goes like a half a second forward. It prevents cheating. You have to play fair, Jeanne-Marie. Jeez. Okay. All right. So you close your eyes. Are you going to count or am I going to count?
We can count
No,
together.
don't close your eyes yet. We're still talking. We're
You told me to close my eyes. You said
okay.
close your eyes. All right. You're
you
counting.
Want to count? Okay, I'm going to count. Okay. Yeah. And we're going on shoot, which is on 4.
And then we close our eyes.
And the winner goes first.
Yes.
For show and tell. Okay, ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. What do you have? All right, you can go first.
All right. Okay, so this was a I learned to sew because of the SCA. I didn't know how to sew beforehand clothing.
Me too.
Right? So I was so excited. I had this beautiful raw silk that I dyed, and it kind of came out interesting. It was purple, but it looked I didn't know what I was doing. I was just making stuff up. And it blotched, but it looked like a galaxy dress. So I'm like, whatever, I'm still gonna go and do it. It'll be a camp dress. That'll be just fine. And I'm sewing it, and I'm getting ready to try it on, and I'm like, why is this one side different than the other? I don't know. Put the sleeves on it and slap it together and go. And I wore it, and I'm like, it's so weird. It's like, so I had flipped it around and put the back in the front and the front in the back. And I didn't recognize it because 14th century dresses kind of have that curve on both sides. And I have been occasionally known to wear a lower than normal neckline. And so I was like,
modest.
Immodest. So it was very, I was like, oh, okay, this is, but I kept it. It was awful. It was actually horrible because the one side was much higher than because I'd made a back with the train, and like, why is the front down halfway? And anyway, so I kept it because I thought it was really important to show when we do weird. And I think I put the arm in backwards too because I was trying to do the nice curved arms, right? And yeah, that was.
Did you sew them in where if you have the cutout, right? But if you sew them in backwards when you lay your dress out, your dress is there.
Yes, yeah. So I've actually got a sleeve right here that I was wearing earlier, but it got hot. And yeah, you put it in backwards and you end up with this thing, and yeah, it's just horrible. It was horrible. But I kept it because I thought it was funny, and in packing and moving and stuff, it's someplace safe. It's in a very safe place. I have no idea where it is.
I love it. Okay, I'm gonna share my thing. So the thing that I have though, is not something that I made, but I have to show everybody. Otherwise, it's not gonna make sense. So I have to I'm in a wheelie chair, which was a terrible idea for someone that's like wearing a super long dress. Okay, because I'm gonna fall down later, guys, or right now. Okay, so I'll scoot back so you guys can see it. So this is it's just a black hood. But on the front of it, this is a super cool hood. It has a fayon and has a scorpion. It has a red fayon and gold scorpion. Right? Because I'm from Alberon, and in Alberon for the longest time, I'm gonna say forever, because that's like how we measure things now. So forever ago, Alberon instituted. They had Guidos, right? And they're these doofy looking hats, and I have mine somewhere, and I should have brought it out to show it too. So with these doofy looking hats, they don't match anybody's costumes. But if you petition to the Baron and Baroness of Alberon, and you train with the barony before war, and you go to a foreign war, and you fight for the barony, you get to wear this hat. It's like the most amazing thing, right? So, and then they had cordons for the fencers, and it was the same thing. And I got this super fancy little tied up, like intricate cordon, but the archers didn't have anything. So Otto and LSA, who were B&B right before Bartolf and I were, they set up this whole thing. They met with the archery community. They had all these conversations about how can we do this thing for the archery community. It's really important to support them as well. They shouldn't be left out just because our tradition says we've done this for 30 years. Like there's no reason not to include everybody. So they had all these conversations, but it just didn't get done. They ran out of time, right? And so we picked it up because, of course, we thought it was a great idea because Otto and LSA are amazing. Like, why wouldn't you? If they're going to do it, you should do it. Like, don't question it. Just do it. So we decided that we would do it. They had voted on names, and they said, we want to make black mantles. We want them to be black hoods. And we said, okay. So I ran with it. And The original set, I embroidered. I embroidered the first 6 black mantle hoods. And I should never be allowed to embroider anything. They're hideous. They are, and you know what the thing about it is? Like, people wear them and they love them. And I love that they love them. It makes me feel like I did this thing that was so special for them. But I look at it and I'm like, I'm embarrassed that you put that on today. Like, could I remake that? But I can't remake it, because if I remake it, then it's not special anymore, right? Only the first ones are special. But like, it takes some time. His Lordship Edric has one. I think Lady Gerlin has one. If you see them, flip one up and look at the inside of it. It's embarrassing. It's terrible. I've met kids who can embroider better than I can, and I tried really hard. And you would think by like the 6th one, you would like be better at it. No, I think the 6th one was the worst one out of all of them.
Oh no!
One of them I gave to His Grace Waller, literally half done. I'm like, this takes me so long, and I'm so terrible at it that like this one's half done. So then that's not the worst part of the story. So then I decided no more embroidery. The first 6 are uber special. They're embroidered. The rest of them are going to be stamped. This is stamped, right?
Nice.
So I got a lino block and I carved it out, right? Carved this stamp, and I go in and I print a bunch of them. I make these hoods and I stamp them. And I had some help embroidering, finishing the hoods. I didn't do it all by myself. I've never done anything all by myself. So we go to Battlemore and we hand out the second round. And it's so special. And it was our last Battlemore as B&B. And they were great. But we had 2 people that couldn't come to Guido Court to get their black mantles. So I held on to them. And it was dark and it was late. And we did it after Grand Court. And so the next day, or maybe it was after we got home, we handed out the black mantles that we didn't have out in court. And I had printed them backwards. All the ones I handed out in court had their stamps on the front, but the 2 that I saved unknowingly have the stamps on the back of them. So they put their hoods on and you can't see the scorpion. It's just a plain black hood. Who makes that kind of mistake? So that's my show and tell. It's my terrible, terrible hoods. I made 12 terrible, they're just terrible.
But they were from your hands, so that's the magic of them. That they're nothing terrible.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, we have a question. Okay, we're gonna backtrack.
Okay.
This is when, if we had sponsors for this show, which we don't, we would take a commercial break. And Bardolph told me that Edric could like edit stuff out. I don't know if that's true. I just know we don't get commercial breaks, so we got to keep it rolling. But let's take this question from Pelican Sabiha. It says, the Outlands are full of incredible traditions and lore. True. Yay! Are there any specific to the Laurels, rites, ceremonies, or fun frivolity that you encourage new Outlanders wish to know? Oh, what do we do that's like... Our ceremonies are... I feel like it's probably this way for lots of people. We have our standard Laurel ceremony, but I think there are lots of us that we add our own twist to it. So my Laurel ceremony was like, the aspects of the ceremony were there. Like my medallion was passed around the circle, and that was very meaningful. And I didn't get a wreath, but I had a hat to symbolize that. But the rest of my ceremony was very, cultivated to match what I was doing. What about you, Jeanne-Marie?
My Laurel ceremony was, I think, pretty standard. I did get a wreath, but I didn't get a mantle or a coat. So I don't know if that's a thing. Again, not having lived in another kingdom, I'm not sure what's just a thing we do because we do it. There's that whole ritual bath at the beginning. That's just, one of those things we try not to talk too much about, but it's a thing. It's not a thing. I'm just making that up. That's a.
Oh, we're fun.
Right?
Laurels and Yowlands are a lot of fun. So we don't have to have a specific fun thing because we're fun all the time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. But we don't have like, I mean, like our chivalry, they have their baby knights chain, right? Which gets
Right.
like passed down from person to person. But we don't really have that. Watch, the other Laurels are gonna chime in and probably like the comments are gonna blow up and they're like, you didn't know this thing or you forgot this thing. And it's like, well,
Now we do. Then we'll be
and then we will. And it's a learning experience for all of us. Yeah, it's gonna be fine.
Well, I think that's the other thing about being a Laurel is a lot of people assume that you're there, you're done, it's the end. And it's like, no, it's there's still so much more that I want to learn and do. And I'm still researching and looking into things to this day. Oh, just a case in point, I made a very modern jacket, but used a bog coat pattern. And it was out of wool. I wove it and sewed it together on the sewing machine because it was like, this is just for wearing around the house. And it's really been too hot ever to wear it, except for this last week, which was -8, right? So I'm wearing it, and I was looking at the stitching. I'm like, why is this pulling out? And I realized that a lot of the herringbone stitch we see on a lot of like the Norse wear and things like that was done to hold the weight of the wool or the garment to keep it from pulling out of the hand woven garment. And I was like,
all right,
this is amazing. And I bet everyone else knows this, but I'm going to tell everyone right now because it was so cool. I quickly went ahead and did the herringbone stitch over that little part so I could wear it and not have it fall apart on me, because hand woven wool garments usually are pretty heavy.
Right. Yeah. Oh, we got another question. Oh. I love this. What advice would you give to a newcomer who is inspired to take the Laurel path? What do you think, John?
To do it from your own joy. I mean, to really, are you doing this art because it gives you joy? And that's the part I think people see and respond to. I mean, if you're doing it because it's a thing you do that someone said, if you do X, this will be a way. I think a lot of times you don't have that discovery of your own into it. You're just going through the motions maybe sometimes, but I really think that the joy, if people see you taking the joy when you discovered what layer went where, and it may have been something everyone else already knew, but you found it out and it was like, oh, this is so amazing. And you shared it with everyone, and we all listened because we were like, we love that you love this and we want to hear more.
I think it's one of those things too that, when you're looking at, and whether you're a Laurel or whether you're not a Laurel, and I think even, if, I'm sorry, we have another comment that I'm going to share before I finish my sentence, and then it's, Her Grace Cecilia had told Lord Edric at one point that he should do jazz hands in circle. And so I just learned something new, and now Cecilia's on the hook for this. So thank you, Your Grace. So back to the question, I think that when you start looking at other people's art, and I think that this applies to whether you are an artisan or not, you can tell the items that were done with passion, and you can tell the items that were done with dedication and love of the art. And you can tell them sometimes from the stuff that was just, I did this thing because this is the thing I'm supposed to do. Right. Maybe it's not something that everybody sees, but like I can see the attachment that the artisan has to those things, right? And you've got to have that passion about what you're doing. You have to be doing it because it's what you love to do, right? Because it's bringing you joy. Or the exception to that is if it's bringing someone else joy.
Yes.
Like you can do things because they bring someone else joy, and that's okay too. So I think that's what I have like to say about that. And like as far as like being on the Laurel path, I wasn't on the Laurel path. I was a Pelican student. So I gave my belt back to Her Grace Madigan, but Her Grace Madigan, she's a royal peer, she's a knight, she's a Pelican, and that wasn't what I was recognized for. So when I think about like being inspired to take the Laurel path, I think that you should be inspired to take the path in the SCA that brings you the most joy, and don't worry about where you end up in the end.
Yeah.
Right. Because the people that are doing things to enhance it, for everyone else, like we recognize those people. That's my like inflated like belief.
I think there's
what I want to believe.
Some truth to it, though. In the you were saying you were a student to a Pelican. She taught you a lot about the game, about the SCA, and about what we do, and other things that may not have necessarily been Laurel-y or Pelican-y, or they just were. These are these things that we don't understand about the mechanics, and you know, and mine turns out I was studying with a weaving Laurel, but she taught me so much about the game that I just had no clue about. Right? It was just not. It was not just about my art. In fact, our artwork is completely different in what we do with weaving, but it was still the value of what she taught me in the world.
I agree with that. I think so too. Yeah, and it's, I mean, like I can say like wholeheartedly that like the very first like good Persian pattern that I had, Madigan said, "Oh, you want to make a pretty dress? Here's a pattern to make a pretty dress." You know, and it was like, "You're the best thing ever, Madigan." And I still think that. But you know, I didn't go to her and say, "I want to be a Laurel. Can you help me be a Laurel?" She wasn't going to be able to help me do that. But what she could help me to do was understand the SCA and understand what it means to be a peer and what it means to do like true, pure-hearted service, whether it is through combat or arts or that like, you know, that what we think of like the Pelican path.
Right. Yeah.
We're going to take one more question and we have to move on. We have to get the rest of our stuff. I haven't even given away any prizes yet.
What?
Okay. So we're going to do one more question. What are your opinions about arts and sciences competitions? Do you think potential Laurels should compete in them in order to be considered? Oh, and it's from Anne by God.
So, my opinion of arts and science competitions is, and this is what I tell my students, is that it's about education. It's about the chance to get together with people who do your same thing, who can teach you, or you can teach them. It's a chance to share what you've made, and maybe it's a chance that yes, another a Laurel might look at you and go, "This is worthy things that we should continue." Do I think that potential Laurels should compete in them or to be considered? I don't. And my reasoning is, I think they should be doing their art. And so many people freeze up at competitions. I think they should do it so they can talk to other people who have that same interest and maybe learn a new source or learn a new direction to take, you know, their focus. But I don't believe that is the only, well, in order to be considered. I don't think it's the only, I think that there's a broader scope, and I'm talking with my hands here, off the screen.
It was not Anne by God. It was Countess Matilda. But you know what, Jeanne-Marie, I'll tell all the viewers out there that I agree. Some people don't thrive in competitive settings. And if it's not a place that you thrive or that your arts thrive, I don't think that you should be not considered a candidate because that's not where you thrive. I can say for me, I've entered exactly 2 arts and sciences competitions. I entered a hood at the College of Bladeland for maybe Winter Wolf one year. And it was not something I'd actually like made for the competition. It was like we're having arts and science competition. So I took my hood off and I wrote a little note card and I set it down. You know, it's like before I had an AOA and it was great.
Yeah.
And then I entered a scorpion and an any median. I made a banner.
Okay.
And that was it. Those are the only ones. Because I'm a very competitive person, which you're about to find out. But my arts don't thrive in that setting. So I think it's about finding I think if you're thriving with your arts, the competition, you know, matters less. If you're a person that's shy and you can't get out there and just be like, hey, like,
right.
I made this dress and strut it down the street. You have to be modest about it. You can't be like, boastful, freaking nobody likes that. But, you know, some people need that where they have to sit down at the table and they need to show you. And that's how they thrive, and that's okay. But I don't think it should be required.
Yeah. And I do think it's a place of how do you, I think when it comes down to like the actual judging, it's so hard, to judge my 10 yards of flat woven fabric to an Elizabethan gown. I mean, yes and no, and yet, some of my favorite ANS entries were the most simple things. And since Mistress Matilda or Countess Matilda just asked us a question, her little wooden horse that she made for Estrella one year was one of my favorite things because it was this incredibly simple, incredibly period, but adorable and loved and passionately made item, right? But it was a little wooden horse. It was adorable, and I would love to play with it. Sorry.
So we have some follow-up questions, and I think that Jeanne-Marie and I are going to connect later. We're going to answer these follow-up questions, and then we'll post them maybe on the event page, because I have some other things I want to do today, and I know we're running short on time. So, Jeanne-Marie, again, if we had a commercial break sponsor, this would be our commercial break, but we don't, so we just have to we have to power through. Do you want to play a game, or do you want to do an activity?
I would like to play a game.
Oh, okay. Okay, so for the viewers at home, you can also play this game. And I will pick out some people from the comments later, and I will connect with you somehow. And I'll send you a prize. I can't send a prize to everybody. Maybe I can send a prize to everybody. I don't know. I'm picking some people to send you a prize. I can't guarantee what it's going to be. It may be in the spirit of Jeanne-Marie, where it's just a box of junk from my house. Or it might be something really cool. We don't know. Okay. All right, Jeanne-Marie. Let's get to this. We're going to play a game. All of these photos are labeled A or B. So if you're playing at home, you don't have to worry about typing out what it is. You can just answer A or B. All right? So what we're going to do is, Jeanne-Marie, as quick as you can, I'm going to hold up photos 2 at a time.
Okay.
You need to tell me which thing is older.
Okay.
The older thing. Okay. Are we ready?
And which way is A and B? Your left. You're facing me,
Doesn't
right?
matter. Just I can see whether they're A and B. So you just shout one out. All right.
Okay.
So which one is older? Is it the Parthenon or Notre Dame?
B.
B is
Parthenon.
correct. Yeah. All right. Is it the Leaning Tower of Pisa or the Tower of London?
The B.
Incorrect.
Ah,
It is the Tower of London.
the Tower of London. It's so modern.
It's not a trick question.
They are.
Okay, are you ready?
Absolutely.
Is it Charles VII of France or Elizabeth I of England?
Charles VII.
It is Charles VII. I thought for sure you weren't going to get that one. I worked so hard. All right. Okay. Are you ready?
I am.
Is it Bardolph or Sabiha?
It's Sabiha.
Yeah, it's Sabiha. All right. Okay. You're doing pretty good. Well, I mean,
I think with the Tower. 4.
Yeah, you're only at do we have you done 4 yet?
Yeah.
That's like 75%. That's not like passing grade. Okay.
It is B.
It is B. All right. Okay, last one.
All right. I almost want to get it wrong so that you get to be right.
No, that's not the point. I don't like. If we're gonna compete, we have to compete, right?
Okay. Oh dear, oh dear. It is B. No. Ah, there it is.
This is Atlantia.
It is Atlantia.
They were formed in 1981, and this is Anciura's. Oh wait, you did say B, huh? Okay. Well, I suck. All right. So.
Suck it up.
Okay, so what I didn't tell you is I let you choose between a game or an activity, but we're going to do an activity anyway. Wait.
You betcha.
I believe that being a Laurel, a big part of that is teaching. You have to share your arts, and it doesn't have to be in a formal setting, but like we have to share. The world doesn't go round in the SCA if we don't share our knowledge and what we're doing. So Jeanne-Marie today is going to teach me how to drop spindle.
Ooh.
All right.
Oh, this is so hard with not being there. This is okay.
Okay, you ready? Okay.
Absolutely. So what I want you to do is take your wool and pull a smaller strand clump off of it. Yeah, like that.
How small? Like,
just keep going. That's perfect.
Like this small?
That's small enough. Yep, absolutely. Put the rest down. Put it over to the side. Yeah.
But what if I want to make something bigger?
Well, you're going to add to it.
Well,
it falls apart, isn't it? Well, stop pulling on it just yet. Don't pull yet.
I thought that was the whole point. We're supposed to like. It's not like what's that shit we use at Halloween? So we put in our houses, like the spider
string. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So now take your spindle. Grab it up.
Which is this?
Yeah. Okay. Spindle.
All right.
Are you right-handed or left-handed?
I'm right-handed. Which way does it go?
That's a good question. Mine, I always use my whirl at the bottom. I'm a bottom whirl girl.
Which one's the whirl? Is that
that's the wheelie looking thing?
Is that the gavel part?
Yeah, that's the part that you could brain somebody if they're being misbehaving.
Okay. All right.
All right. So are you right-handed or left-handed?
I'm right-handed.
Okay.
This is my right hand. Okay.
But it's your left hand to me.
Okay, but this is my right hand for sure.
Like, are you sure?
I gotta put the L up. It doesn't make an L. Okay.
But it does. I see an L.
Well.
All right.
All right.
So taking a little bit of the fluff at the end. Okay. And because it's still fluffy right now, you can kind of attach it to the spindle part, which is the sticky bit. Top stick, yeah, and tie a little knot around it. Just
it has like a little like hook. Like, do I use the little hook?
You will be.
Oh, but not yet.
Right, but to use that to tie your knot on right now.
Okay. All right.
See, if we were in person, I would have a little string for you to tie that to, and I'm going to teach you the part.
I just keep pulling apart. If we were in person,
it's okay.
I would just have you do it for me. All right, I'm ready.
So now, using your left hand, you're going to do something called the pinch. I want you to pinch closer to here. Yeah, I'm touching that. You can't see me. Go about a fourth of the way, a third of the way in.
From the
from the spindle. So go. Yep, there.
A third. Okay.
Yep.
All right. I'll call
now
that a
keep
third.
that pinch, and with your right hand, spin that wheel. Just drop it and let it spin. Well, that'll work too.
Drop it.
But gently.
Oh, like a top, like
a top. Yeah. There you go.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Now that pinch isn't okay. Now stop. And tuck it under your arm, the spindle, the whole thing under your arm to hold it still. Just keeps out of your way. Using your right hand, go to where your left hand is, and you've got the pinch.
Okay.
Yep. Now, what you just did is you put a whole bunch of spin into that thread. You can let it go further into your, I'm still pointing at your screen. You can't see me. Like right there, go right there. Using your left hand, go down. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. It's, you are doing the thing. That's it.
All right.
But go further onto the part that isn't spun tightly. Like slide your hand down. Yeah, just like that. Now let the spin. Hold on to that end and let go of your right hand. Left hand. So the spin goes into the whole thing. And what that does is it makes all the fibers line up in the way that you want it to. And you see how it's not breaking like the fluff was, because that's actually that's actually a spun yarn right there. That's it. You did it. That was it. It's pretty freaking simple, huh? I mean, it's
not very fun though.
Well, it gets more fun as you.
I mean, it's a lot of fun. I bet that it's like super fun when you have something. I'm going to return that to Her Excellency Amanya.
Oh, that wasn't yours.
No, I had to borrow it.
Oh,
why would I own a drop spindle? I'm not a weaver. And for that matter, neither is Her Excellency Amanya, but she wasn't using it either. So
fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay. We have 5 minutes left.
5 minutes.
Is there anything we want to talk about?
She's
We're allowed to talk about whatever we want to talk about. Those were my instructions.
allowed to talk about.
I feel like we got a little philosophical today.
We did well. So I do. And I want to support the Queen's Prize, which is coming up in March.
Yeah.
So if you it's there was a follow-up question of where would you tell people to go if you didn't go to the competitions, because the Queen's Prize is not a competition. It gives you a chance to get out there and talk to other ones, and it's just so much more gentle in the way that it works. So yay! That's right. I don't know the actual date, but it's in March, and we should encourage people to do it. That's another one. That's actually something you asked about traditions. Was we traditionally as Laurels used to sponsor people into it.
That's right.
Which forced us as Laurels to also go, because we picked people to give a prize to. So everyone who went got a little tchotchke or a little thing that we made or something, and a little personal time with us as Laurels to tell them what we think of their thing and where they should look or what they should do or
yeah.
That was
That's
one
great.
of our, yeah.
And and the thing about Queen's Prizes, it's all virtual this year. So if you're not going to enter something or put something on display or teach a class or any of that, you can still go.
Right.
And you can go from the comfort of your bedroom, which is like the best part about all this, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, I put on pants today, but you don't have to wear pants.
I'm not. I'm so not wearing pants right now.
Jeanne-Marie, I really want to thank you for coming and talking with me, and I've had a blast. I hope everybody else had a blast, and sharing what it's like to be a Laurel and teaching me to do something new. As soon as Bartolf gets home, I'm gonna be like, look what I learned.
I love it. I love it.
So thank you for coming and sharing with us and playing my stupid game. And I am going to pick people, and I'm going to send people prizes. I don't know how I'm going to coordinate this yet, but I'm going to go in and I'm going to look at names and I'm going to figure out who you are, where you live.
If you need more boxes of junk, let me know and I'll happily give you some to send.
Hey, you know what? Everybody that played online, if you're still here, if you want, you can have, I'll let you choose. You can have a Sabiha prize, or you can have a Jeanne-Marie box of junk. And I'll tell you what, the box of junk is probably going to be better than the Sabiha prize.
I don't know about that. I've moved a lot, so.
Thank you, Jeanne-Marie. Please, everybody, tune in. We have another show this coming week on Wednesday, the 24th, 7 o'clock. It's going to be peering at the Pelican. And Mistress Sabiha is going to have the opportunity to talk to Her Grace Slane. And I think it's going to be fantastic. So please tune in. It's going to be a great time. And again, thank you, everybody, for coming in, whether you came in while we were live or whether you are viewing this later. We appreciate it. Thank you to the Royal Majesties. Thank you to our tech crew, especially His Lordship, Edric, and Jeanne-Marie. Thank you for the opportunity to chat.
Thank you. Have a great day. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
Bye, everybody.